Hello, welcome to CKE 10,001's gaming channel. In this video, we'll be looking at my Weiss Schwarz Log Horizon deck profile Japanese build. So this deck build primarily runs the power-up set cards. There's 16 level 0s, 14 level 1s, 2 level 2s, 10 level 3s, and 8 climax cards. So the first card we're going to take a look at is the level 0 Nienta card. It's a called dual wielding Nienta. If there are 2 or fewer cards in your stock, this gains 1500 power. So it's a 004K beater. Next up will be the Brainstormer, 4 copies I'm running. Minori Shiro's Pupil. It's 2 effects. At the start of your climax phase, you can choose one of your characters, and that character has 500 power for the turn. Second effect is the Brainstorm. Pay 1, rest this card. Flip over 4 cards, top 4 cards of your deck into your waiting room. And for each climax reveal this way, you can search your deck for up to 1 weapon or magic character. So the Brainstorm is really helpful for the deck because it has Shiro in its card name. And it works with the 1-0 2K backup because it has a Shiro condition, get the additional power. So the next card we're running is 2 copies of Rudy's Owner, Isuzu. We don't use the first effect. We focus in on that bit. The second effect, which is on play, pay 1, pitch a card, search your deck for up to 1 weapon or magic character. So it's a drop searcher. Then we're running 3 cards from the power-up set, which is Isuzu Poem She Wants to Recite. It's when this card is placed on stage, you can discard a climax. If you do, choose a character in your waiting room, return it to hand if it's magic or weapon. And when this card direct attacks, choose one of your other characters, and that character gets 15 power for the turn. Then we're running 3 Marielle assists. The first effect is all your other magic or weapon characters get 500 power. Second is when this card is placed on stage from hand, you may put the top 3 cards of your deck into your waiting room, which is optional. And then the third is mandatory effect. When this card is placed on stage, put the top card of your deck into your waiting room. If it's a climax, put this card into your stock. So it's a good global assist, and yeah, that's about it. The next card we're running is 2 copies of the level 1 reverser Isuzu. When this card becomes reversed, if the battle opponent is level 1, you reverse that. And then we're running another power-up set card, which is the full raid Shiro card at 4 copies. If all your characters are either weapon or magic, this gets 1000 power. And when this card becomes, if you have 1 or fewer other characters of weapon or magic trait, you put this into your clock, which is the downside for being a big beater card. Then we're running 4 copies of the Minori backup. When you use this card's backup, if you have a character with Shiro in its card name, choose one of your characters in battle, it gets 1K. So it's a 1-0-2K backup. Running 4 copies of the level 1 climax combo from the power-up set. Massachusetts has 2 effects. First is for each of your other characters with weapon or magic, this card gains 500 power, and when this card attacks, if Gamer's Prize or Climax area, reveal top card of your deck. If it's a magic or weapon character, put it in your hand. So that's the climax combo. The next up we're running is the 2 level 2s. There's a backup level 2 that acts as a refresh. When you use card's backup, you can pay 2. If you do, return all cards in your waiting room back to your deck. And then the other level 2, which is Tetra by Sojo Idol. When the battle opponent of this card becomes reversed, you may choose a character in your waiting room, return it to your hand. If so, discard a card from your hand to the waiting room. Second effect, when this becomes reversed, if the level of the battle opponent of this card is higher than your opponent's level, you may reverse that character. Then we're running 2 copies of the early play Akatsuki. 3 effects. If the first is if there are 2 or fewer climaxes in your waiting room, this gets minus 1 level, so early play. Second is if you have 3 or more other weapon or magic characters, this gets 1500 power. Third effect, when this card is placed on stage, look up to X cards from the top of your deck, choose up to 1 of them, put them in your hand, put the rest in the waiting room, and X equals the number of weapon or magic characters you have. Then we're running 2 copies of Natsugu with the Great Performance effect. First is continuous. This card gets 500 power for each of your other weapon or magic characters. Second is continuous great performance. When your opponent attacks, if this card is in the middle position of your center stage, they have to frontal attack it. Then I'm running 2 copies of Log Horizon's Representative Shiro. It has 3 effects. The first is continuous. You cannot take damage from your opponent's auto effects. Second is assists. Continuous. All your weapon or magic characters in front of this card gets X power. X equals to 1000 multiplied by that character's level. third is auto. During your turn, when another of your character's battle point goes reverse, you can, if this card is standing, you can pay 1, rest this card. If you do, choose one of your characters in battle, and that character gets the following ability until the end of the opponent's next turn. Continuous, the character facing this card gets -2 soul. So if you have 2 copies of this in the back, you can give it to 2 of your front stage characters. And I'm running 4 copies of Lord's Ninja Akatsuki. It has 3 effects. First is this card cannot side attack. Second is it heals 1. And third, when this card attacks, if a card named rolls for 2 is in climax area, it gets 4k power. And the following ability, when this card becomes reversed, you may deal 1 damage to your opponent. So that's 4 copies. You usually have Natsugu in the middle position of the stage, and maybe 2 Shiros in the back, and then Akatsuki on the sides. So that's usually how the field setup goes for the deck. So we're running 4 copies of the Waltz for 2 Climax card, which is for the level 3 combo, and we're running 4 copies of the level 1 Climax card, Gamer's Pride. Thanks for watching. Next up will be the English Log Horizon deck profile. So this is the English Log Horizon Weiss Schwarz deck profile that I use. This deck build runs 14 level 0s, 15 level 1s, 6 level 2s, 7 level 3s, and 8 Climax cards. The first card we're going to take a look at is the level 0 Crescent Moon Alliance Serara. Its effect is when this card is placed on stage from your hand, choose one of your weapon or magic characters, and that character gets 1500 power until the end of turn, running this at 4 copies. Then we have the Beach Muriel Assist card. I'm running at 3 copies. It has 3 effects. The first is continuous. All your other weapon or magic character has 500 power. And then second is when this card is placed on stage, you may put the top 3 cards of your deck in your waiting room. And then the third is a mandatory effect. When this card is placed on stage from your hand, put the top card of your deck into your waiting room. If it's a climax, you must put this into stock. Then I'm running 2 copies of Rudy's Owner, Isuzu. We don't use the first effect, we only use the second effect, and it's on play from hand to the stage. Pay 1, pitch a card. If you do, search your deck for a weapon or magic character. Then I'm running 2 copies of the Samurai Toya. At the beginning of your opponent's attack phase, you may move this card to an open position of your center stage with a character facing it. So just run to fight. And I'm running 3 copies of the Shiro Brainstormer. It has 2 effects. The first is during your opponent's turn, your other character in the middle position of your center stage gets 1000 power. Second effect is pay 1, rest this card, and for each climax reveal, you draw up to 1 card. Next up are the level 1s. I'm running 4 copies of Waltz for 2 Shiro. It has 2 effects. The first is continuous. If the number of cards in your hand is 4 or more, this gets 1500 power. And second effect is Clock Encore. So this is one of the ways to help maintain field presence in this deck, since it doesn't have a plussing combo at level 1. Then I'm running 3 copies of Log Horizon Nienta. It has 2 effects. The first is when another of your character is being frontal attack, you can pay 1, put this card into the waiting room. If you do, return that character to your hand. Second is activate, rest 2 of your magic characters. Until end turn, this card's soul does not decrease when side attacking. So it's a nice tech card. Then I'm running 2 beater cards, Reliable Buddy Naotsugu. When this card becomes reverse in battle, your opponent may draw a card. If they draw, they discard. So it's a 1/175 power with a downside. Then I'm running 3 copies of the event counter, Mind Shock. When you use this card, you can choose one of your weapon characters or magic characters, and that character gets 3500 power until end of turn. And for the red level 1s I'm running is the Isuzu level 1 Reverser at 3 copies. So let me focus on that a bit. There we go. Then at level 2 I'm running 2 events, Dolled Up Akatsuki. It's a 2/2, choose up to 2 characters from your waiting room and add them to your hand. And I'm running 1 tech copy of Nienta. It has 2 effects. First is when another of your weapon or magic character attacks, this gets 1000 power. Second effect, at the beginning of your climax phase, you may pay 1, pitch a card. If you do, choose one of your opponent's characters, stand it, and move it to an open position on your opponent's stage, and this card gets 1000 power. And then I'm running one backup Akatsuki. When you use cards backup, you can pay 2. If you do, return all cards in your waiting room back to your deck. And then I'm running 2 copies of Field Monitor Minori. When a card named Simplified Full Control Encounter is placed on your climax area, if this card is on your center stage, you can pay 1. If you do, until end of turn, all your characters get 2500 power and the following ability. When this card's battle opponent becomes reversed, you may put that card onto the bottom of your opponent's deck. Then for the low 3s, I'm running 4 copies of Lord's Ninja Akatsuki. It has 3 effects. The first is continuous. This card cannot side attack. Second is heal 1. And third is climax combo. If Waltz for 2 is in your climax area, when this card attacks, it gets 4k power and deal 1 damage to your opponent when the character gets reversed. I'm running 2 copies of Log Horizon's Representative Shiro. It also has 3 effects. The first is you cannot take damage from your opponent's auto effects. Third is continuous assist. All your weapon and magic characters in front of this card gets X power. X equals to 1000. Multiply that character's level. Third is auto. During your turn, when another of your character's battle opponent becomes reversed, if this card is standing, you can pay 1 rest this card. If you do, choose one of your characters in battle, and that character gets the following ability until the opponent's next turn. The character facing this card gets -2 soul. So if you have 2 of these in the back, you can give that effect to 2 characters if you have the resources to pay it. So kind of a soul wall. Then I'm running 1 Guardian Naotsugu. It has 2 effects. The first is continuous. This card gets 500 power for each of your other weapon or magic characters. Second is continuous great performance. So when your opponent attacks, they have to frontal attack this card if this card is in the middle position of your center stage. So the ideal field setup for this deck is have 1 Naotsugu in the middle position, 2 Shiros in the back, and an Akatsuki on the sides. If you have the Mind Shock event in your hand and you back it up during the first battle, it'll get that power until the end of turn. So if you back it up 3 times, it'll become like 21k, some ridiculous number. And then the last 8 cards I'm running in the deck are the climax cards. I'm running 4 copies of the Book Climax Simplified Full Control Encounter, and 4 copies of Waltz for 2. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Check EncoreDecks.com in the link in the description below to see an overview of this deck profile.